Now, what if I told you that everything you perceive around you, including yourself, might not actually exist in the form that you believe? This question is kind of harder to answer than that old adage, like, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Like, what's the answer to that? But the real question that's even more stumping to us is reality what we think it is? Is everything around us actually real? And the automatic assertion that your reality is real based just off your belief or sensory stimulation from your five senses that's just perceiving electromagnetic energy, that falls short of any solid proof of existence. And in this video, I'm going to prove to you that reality isn't what you think it is. In fact, you aren't even what you think you are. And when you know this, it becomes like a code that allows you to hack the software of reality and get everything that you want. So just like a hacker or a coder can recreate the software of a video game or a simulation, you can use this as a key to control your reality once and for all. So you can try this for money, for love, for relationships, to heal trauma or depression. You can use it to make your dreams come true. Now, before we dive into that, I just want to say welcome. This is Jake with JakeDucey.com. If you're new here, thank you for being here. Sending you lots of love. If you're a returner, thank you for coming back and being here. If you enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button on it. Helps us as YouTube sends it out into the YouTube universe, so we keep this awakening really going. And if you haven't yet, I have a free Success Hypnosis MP3. About 1 million people from all over the world have used it, and every day I get these awesome stories of people making more money, getting a new job, attracting an awesome new relationship. It's free, so you can click right here to get the Success Hypnosis. You can go to the link in the description or pinned to the comments. It's jakeshypnosis.com. Now, all right, my friend, reality as we know it is just defined from our sensory experiences. What is real to us, our sight, our hearing, our taste, our smell, our touch, your five senses are just conduits for interacting and interpreting the external world, which is just energy. But you're only able to make sense of the vibratory information from your five senses by way of your brain, right? Without the brain's capacity to process and make sense of all of these sensory inputs, everything would be meaningless. So light messages, electrical signals spark through the cells of your brain. They tell us that some light waves are blue, other light waves are certain bodies or our loved ones. So it's pretty fair to say that our brain's interpretation of sensory data shapes our entire individual reality, right? It's weird that some people can see blue, other people can see red. Others can see their future success. Some other people can see fear and failure ahead, right? It's all subjective. This subjective nature of perception means that reality is being perceived differently across individual human beings. That these cells of recognition in our brains are influenced by our memories, by our experiences, by our beliefs, by our habits. So if everyone is having their own subjective perception that influences the way you perceive reality, then by definition, there's no singular absolute reality. Instead, quantum physics is proving the new science. Reality is a construct of the mind. And that's what big idea number one is all about. Mind over matter is more than just a saying. It's the key to your reality. Kind of crazy if you think about it, right? So in a minute, I'm going to give you a technique that you can start to use to practice controlling your reality. Now, if all of reality is just perception and energy, that means you can control your own perception via free will of consciousness. Thus, you can control your own reality. And that's how you break out of the simulation. That's what this is all about. Now, think about it like this. Even if your emotions and your physical sensations are kind of an illusion, they're electrical impulses traveling through your nervous system instantaneously. The brain activates cells in actual biochemical reactions, and then boom, we feel stuff that feels real. So it's kind of weird, like even our emotions, our physical sensations, which feel undeniably real, are just products of complex biochemical reactions within the brain and body based off of electromagnetic stimulation. right? Like, that's really all that's happening. Or if we think about it from the experience of dreaming, so think about how crazy it is that we can be dreaming or imagining something, but we wake up literally with our heart racing, your hands are sweating, maybe you're even talking, right? We're creating the same complex biochemical reactions just from the unconscious mind in sleep while we're dreaming. And within dreams, our experiences feel as real as though we're in a waking state, with our bodies actually reacting to these dreamt experiences as though they're real. This blurring of the lines between dreamt reality and waking reality really shows that what is real ultimately comes down to the brain, which can basically create anything that you desire and give attention to. And this is where we enter the simulation theory. Elon Musk and all types of the world's most successful people have said we're living within a simulation. Even technology itself is blurring all of these lines of reality by creating these hyper-realistic virtual worlds that exist only as a projection of light photons on a screen or from virtual reality goggles. And again, it makes us ask the same question. What is reality? Is reality actually just a simulated creation from our own minds and our own brains? And if reality is a simulation, then just like a computer or software, there must be some type of code that is written that controls the outcomes. Our universe operates according to a set of unbreakable rules, right? So you have the speed of light. It's like this cosmic thing. You can't argue with it. You've got the law of gravity. You have cause and effect. Then you have a complex DNA code. It's carrying detailed code or instructions for building and operating a living organism, i.e. you and I, and that creates our personal identity, right? These billions of chains in our of code in our DNA is just like computer software, right? It's a dense storage of information encoding every trait, reaction, characteristic of a human being, and then it makes us go, well, is this a simulation? And experts in biology have actually proven something called epigenetics, where your perception influences what genes in your DNA that you turn on and you activate. Instead of your DNA being and your genetics being a pre-written script you have no control over that you're a servant to, epigenetics shows us that our perception and our mind actually influence what genes or parts of our DNA turn on and off. And that's what big idea number 2 is all about. Your perception is not only the software creating the simulation, it's also the genetic controller of your DNA, your biology, and your future. So then the question is, how do you control reality? How can you break the simulation and shape your own future? What we don't realize is our consciousness is not bound by physical location. It actually transcends the material confines of the world. In fact, our consciousness actually shapes and controls the physical world itself down to the subatomic level. So then you start to go, this isn't a physical world that defines our future. It's a mental movie you produce in your own mind that creates your reality. And when I learned all this, I thought, okay, if this is true, why don't I test it, right? I'm not even asking you to believe me, just test it. So what I did is once I learned, okay, if this is a simulation, what's controlling it is the subconscious mind. And then I learned about hypnosis and I thought, well, why don't I hypnotize my subconscious mind to believe I'm everything that I wanted? And at the time, it wasn't like I was the creator of my own movie and breaking out of the simulation. I had a big dream to become a big successful author, but I was failing miserably. Every publishing company was telling me no. So on the one hand, I was consciously entertaining these ideas, and you might be too. But on the other hand, I had no proof in my own life that it worked. And I created a success hypnosis for myself that basically just told me that I was super successful. I was a millionaire author, all these awesome things were happening in my life. I was like this huge magnet to success and everything always worked out. And I just started doing it all day long, in my head over and over. And my life changed. So I actually have a free success hypnosis that I give away. If you click right here, you can get the MP3, or you can go to jakeshypnosis.com, or you can click the link in the description or pin to the comments. Now, step number 1 is to rewrite the code, rewrite the software. If you want to change the computer, you want to change the simulation, you rewrite the software. So in our simulation, the software is buried in the subconscious mind. And that's why hypnosis is so important. So step number 1, rewrite it. And then in order to get there, it begs the question for step number 2 is, what do you really want? Not what do you think you can get, but what do you really want, right? If you're producing your own movie and this really is a simulation, then the question is, what do you really want? If none of this is real, then the only thing you're limited by or confined by is your own thoughts, is thinking at the level of your senses. If you think at the level of your senses, you're always going to recreate more of the same, right? If you have $5,000 in your bank account, you made $20,000 last year, and I say, what do you really want? And you say, I want to make $100,000, but I can't do it. How am I going to do it? I have this problem and this problem. That's thinking at the level of your environment. Your consciousness is controlled by your 5 senses. So you're recreating the same thing over and over again, thinking you're a victim of fate, not realizing that what you're doing is running the same software over and over again. So the question is, what do you really want? Not what do you think you can get, but what do you really want? And what I really wanted was I wanted to be a big, successful millionaire author and all these things. So what I did was I stopped listening to my mind and I stopped defining what I saw with my 5 senses. Step number 1, rewrite the software code. That's why a success hypnosis is important. You can click right here or go to the link in the description and get mine. Step number 2, what do you really want? Not what do you think you can get? Write it down on a piece of paper. Step number 3 is to stop identifying with what you see. Lack of evidence is not evidence of lack. Just because you can't see it yet doesn't mean it's not happening. If none of this is really real, just because you can't see evidence doesn't mean it's not coming. Once you stop identifying with your bank account, oh, I'm broke because my bank account says this, it's just a bunch of light photons. And if you do that, you're going to recreate it again. Well, I can't attract the love of my life because, there's no good guys left. There's no right women left. And you don't understand. I had this problem and I had this. That's, again, the same thing. You have to step out of that, disassociate from your 5 senses, use the power of God that is working to and through you. You're made in the image of God, and first was the Word. And you get to create your own images, create your own words, create your own perception. And when you dwell in that and you practice that, while you listen to a success hypnosis and you visualize or mentally rehearse it, Harvard Medical School proved that you actually spark the same motor activities of your brain as if you're actually doing it. They took piano people and they had one group actually play the piano, one just imagine playing it. And they found that the group that imagined the piano sequence but wasn't allowed to play it was activating the same parts of their brain down to the finger muscles as the group who actually played it. So your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. And when you start mentally rehearsing what you want over and over again, and you use some form of a hypnotic suggestion, what you do is you train your brain to think it's real. And because your brain creates everything and is the controller of all reality, you start to change your reality without conscious effort because your brain has changed. You've activated new cells, you've activated new genes, you've activated new parts of your DNA, you've recoded the neural networks in the cells in your brain, you've changed the software, then your outside life changes. First, you have to go where there is no evidence, and then reality catches up, time catches up, third dimension catches up. It catches up to you. You're sitting there waiting for it like, I know this is coming and, none of this stuff that's happening right now is real and it's just going to take a minute for reality to catch up. You take the lead and it starts with your own mind. So, my friend, are you living in a simulation? Let me know in the comments right there down below. Do you believe this is true? If you do, give me a yes. If not, explain why not. It's all good either way. Click right here to get my free success hypnosis to start to take control of the simulation and create your own reality. You can click here, go to jakeshypnosis.com, or click the link in the description and pin to the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe and bell notification. Put a smile on your face. It's a beautiful day, and it is time for you to realize how powerful you really are. So click right here. You can watch another video now.